Okay, let's get going. It's 11 o'clock. So I've got a bit of news to look at. So is Richard. So we'll do that first, and then I'll be talking to Jean-Yves Delamez, who is the manager of Ecofin Global Utilities and Infrastructure. So news-wise, the obvious one is Hipgnosis, so that's the one I'm going to cover. And then I said Richard's going to do Balanced Commercial Property Trust. So we know the story. We've been looking at this for months, years now. NAV marched all the way up. Newport comes in, massive great write down with the shot tower thing. That's all backdated in Morningstar. That is not actually when it happened in real life. And then, well, actually, when that was announced, there was a bit of a jump in the price, and we were all like, okay. And then now we've got the bid, and it's a long way north of where the share price was, but not quite as good as previous levels. Obviously, that's only taking us back to where we were back in 2022. So that an awful lot of people lost an awful lot of money on this. So the cash offer is $1.16 a share, which works out about 93.2p. There is a chance, they sort of put this in the documents, that there'll be another 2 cents if the manager waives its fee under the termination agreement. I cannot understand why it would do that. I don't see why it would feel it needs to be generous, but there we go. It's not a bad price, really. I suppose it's a big premium, obviously, to the share price, which is helpful. It's a premium to the latest NAV, but that NAV is an awful long way down, as we've said, from where it was before. What they said was they had a number of approaches, including a number of approaches from the bidder, and this was the highest of those on the table. So the buyer, Alchemy Copyrights, which is Concord, are the same people that bought Roundhill Music. And the coincidence here, which is probably not a coincidence, is that Rob Naylor, who's the chair of Hipgnosis Songs Funds now, was the chair of Roundhill before he got sold. So he dealt with them when he was doing the disposal of Roundhill. And so presumably knows them well. The backer of this is Apollo, so they're putting some equity and a lot of debt, I think, behind this acquisition. Concord says it's already the world's leading independent music company. It's got about 1.2 billion songs. Obviously, this will make it that much bigger. The wrinkle in the whole thing potentially is the call option that the manager has over the portfolio. So basically, if it gets terminated in this circumstance of a bid, then it has the option to buy the portfolio at the higher of the market cap and the NAV and the price being paid by the bidder. So if they don't have the money to do that themselves, presumably it's possible that Blackstone will put the money up if they want to put more money into songs. Don't know if that's true or not. It wouldn't be great news for shareholders, because I would think that in that kind of circumstance, they probably just match the bid rather than surpassing it. And the Concord lot will probably want some or all of the £20 million that the board has agreed to make available to a failed bidder to encourage these bids in the first place. So that would take about 1.65p off the price, the exit price for shareholders. So it does look like, barring interference by the manager, that it's going to go through. There's quite a lot of sign-ups here from various fund managers, altogether just shy of the kind of limit of where they could have gone to without forming concert party and bid for it themselves. So yeah, this is quite a big tick in the box. This is the share register from Bloomberg. Now these things are never perfect because they're just taking what's come, they can scrape from the various announcements of the company, announced by the individual managers. There's no mention here of Madison and Gresham House, who are about 1.54, 1.37 according to the documents. The funny thing is the Marshall Waste one, so they've got quite a big short on. And I did check that was still on the 16th of April, so it doesn't look like they've lost money on this. Shorting things that might get bid for is always a dangerous thing to do. There we go. What I thought looking at this list there's no obvious party in there that's going to think, oh no, this isn't the deal that I wanted. Let's do something else. So while it's possible that another bidder might come over the horizon at higher price, um, it it looks like otherwise this is going to be a done deal. So the structure of the deal is slightly complicated because it's a court-sanctioned scheme of arrangement rather than a normal bid. It needs 75% of the people voting to vote in favour of it. As we just said, I think that's probably likely. Then it gets rubber stamped by a court. So they're going to put out a document within 28 days. I think we'll see how long it takes. But they're saying the meeting's probably going to be on the 10th of June. And it will stop trading the day before that. The price has come up. It was sort of 92p versus the 93.2 level. So there's not a lot of wiggle room into trading much ahead of that anyway, but we'll see what happens. If all of that gets done, they say it's effective in Q3 2024. Really, there won't be much of a time gap beyond getting the whole thing signed off and the thing going through, I think. If for whatever reason this whole process is frustrated, then the bidders reserve the right to make this a more straightforward takeover offer, which has different kind of rules. So that's enough from me. Let's hand over to Richard.
Thanks, James. Yes, so this week we had another property company potentially raising the white flag. This time, Balanced Commercial Property Trust. So we all know the story with property over the last 18 months, 2 years. There's its chart. So its NAV's obviously come down massively since interest rates rose. Value of its property fell, NAV fell. But they have been doing the discount has been coming in the last sort of 6 months. It's now trading at about 28% discount. And they've if we look on the next slide, this is their market cap ranked of the UK commercial sector, and they're the second largest in market cap of the diversified funds, behind UK Commercial Property REIT, which is likely to be going to merging with Tritax Big Box. So as I'll come on to later, I think this would be quite a shame to lose this trust. We'll go on to the next slide. We look a bit into the announcement. So they said all options are on the table. They've obviously become frustrated about the persistently wide discount and the near-term economic and sort of property market outlook. So they've said what could happen is they could sell the portfolio, the company could be sold, there could be another merger with another trust, or managed wind down, or it could continue with some form of discount management, or they could even sort of change the manager or even change the investment strategy. An outcome will this is ahead of a continuation vote, which is to be held this year, and so they'll have an outcome before that vote. And this slide is ranked by the 5-year NAV return in that section. You can see it's pretty disappointing. Only Regional REIT has really got worse than it over that period and over most periods really. And this is because of its, I believe, its portfolio composition. It was very heavily weighted towards the office sector, which we all know has had its sort of challenges, and was a bit slow to react to those and sell off those. So we look on the next slide, we can see a bit more of its portfolio. So it's massively dominated by St Christopher's Place in London, which is valued at over 200 million. So it's more than 20% of its portfolio. And as I said, it has been rebalancing its portfolio away from offices now. So in 2020, it was about over 40%. It's now about just over 20%. But it's been quite slow to do that. And so 4 of those sales have been held this year at a 2.6% discount to their latest value. And the largest one was done in February of its largest office asset. And that was at a 6% discount. So you can see by waiting or delaying this decision to sort of move away from offices, it's not getting the best price, and it's even discounted from values which have already been discounted before that. So I think that's had a big impact on its performance over the last few years. On to the next slide. This is its portfolio now. These are sort of rough weightings, obviously, because they've sold recently, but you see offices come down and industrials now sort of come up. That's a big difference to a few years ago. But like I said, it all seems a bit sort of too late, sort of reactionary, behind the curve. And this is another thing to consider, is that it on its debt side, it's got a £260 million loan with LNG, which expires at the end of this year. They've bought in new facilities that will refinance that when that expires, but will be a massive, massively higher costs, which will obviously impact on their earnings next year. LTV's decent, low level, which is good, but like I said, so they upped their dividend last year. It's now paying 5.28p a year, which is mostly covered with earnings at the moment, but that's obviously going to come under pressure next year with the high cost debt facilities, depending on how they get away these or the sales proceeds and things like that. But yeah, but I think it would be a shame to lose these if they do go that way, because it's, as we saw in one of the earlier slides, they're now, if UK commercial goes, they'll be the biggest fund doing what they do, like diversified REITs. And I just think it's a missed opportunity. They could sort of solidify that position. That may be the way they go. They sort of maybe merge with a couple of the other trusts doing the same thing and become sort of dominant in that sector. And that's the way I think hopefully it does go. But we shall see.
Do you think it might make sense for Shaftesbury to look at it, given St Christopher's price thing?
Yeah, it could be, but there's obviously that one asset which is 200 odd million, and then there's a big sort of tail there that they'll need to sort of get rid of. They're sort of specialist focused in London's West End. So, I mean, they could table an offer for St Christopher's Place, I suppose.
Yeah, possible. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.